Good morning, America. How are you? Monday Morning Radio. Hi, I'm Denny Jelsma, and I'm at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun always shines and running trains is an absolute pleasure. Today is Monday, and you know what we do on Monday? You guessed it. We have another show and tell, and it'll start in just a moment. But show and tell is always brought to you by Jelsma Graphics, the railroad embroidery people. Go to jelsma.com for all your embroidered railroad clothing, such as hats, caps, shirts, club shirts. We make it all. Go to jelsma.com. And with all that being said, show and tell starts right now. See, you are going to start.
So, Monday morning show and tell, and to paraphrase Forrest Gump, show and tell is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So, Denny, tell us what we have today.
We have a very exciting show, as we always say, and it is exciting. And one of the reasons I get excited about this because we're talking about passenger trains.
Yeah.
And I love passenger trains. But one of the trains that we're going to talk about today is the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy. The Burlington, the Q train that ran in Vista Dome, and it was called the American Royal Zephyr.
So where did the American Royal Zephyr run?
It ran from Chicago to Kansas City, and it went via Quincy. Everything that came on the queue out of Chicago, they all went south. It went to Galesburg, and then it went to Quincy, and then over into Missouri, and into Kansas City. But the Kansas City market was very, very hot market. You know, you had the Santa Fe, you had the Wabash. You had a lot of trains competing for that market. What the Burlington had is two trains that ran to Kansas City that was designated. One was a day train and one was a night train. And the day train took 9 hours. It was a little faster. And the night train went via St. Joseph, Missouri, and it took 10 hours. And the American Royal Zephyr left at night. And they really promoted this thing to the businessman. And because, you know, once again, he got on his train at night, slept. The next morning, this train left at around 10:50 or say 11 o'clock, and it got in about 8 o'clock into Kansas City. Somebody would pick him up and they would go. But what was so exciting about this train is that it had a lot of diverse equipment. And I know you asked me earlier, why did the Burlington put a dome car,
Yes.
on a night train?
Right.
And you know, I kind of asked the same thing, but in the marketing department, the Burlington was known for the dome railroad. Every train that they wanted to stick a dome. And how do you make a night train with domes? And then you have to appease the accounting department, and that every car is going to make revenue. And so what they came up with, and most of the domes that the Q had was Bud domes, and they went to Bud and they made different kind of domes. You had coach domes, you had sleeping car domes, you had dormitory domes, you had dining car domes. And so this is what the American Royal, because it left so late, they took one of their domes and they made it a light dining car, and where they had light snacks and breakfast. And you could board this train. They made it very, very easy for the businessman to travel. He could get there around 9 o'clock, get on at a couple hours before the train left, and if they wanted to go back to the dining a car dome. He could get a sandwich. Satisfied the accounting department because it made money back there. And then he went to a sleeping car or the chair car. And what we have here is the car. This train was always pulled by typically 2 E7s, and later on it went to 8s. That started out, they had a few E5s. They always had a baggage car. It did not usually have an RPO. Sometimes they did, depends. They always had a nice chair car with leg rest. They had a chair car with a dome, and it's still once again they could advertise this as an old dome train or a heavy dome. It typically had 2 domes, and this dome was always a coach, and then it always had 3 sleeping cars, depending upon the traffic. And the Burlington always had all their cars was named the Silver Point, the Silver Tulip, and on and on and on. And so, but the American Royal was the counterpart of the Kansas City Zephyr, which was a day train, and it had a dome. And you know, once again, Phil, you asked me why do they have domes in the middle of the cornfields, and typically the Wabash and other trains, because that was the hottest thing, was domes in the 40s, late 40s and the 50s. Everybody wanted to ride a dome, and then these were stainless steel buds, and they were just absolutely gorgeous trains. And so the Q was just famous for their stainless steel Vista Dome trains, and the American Royal was a Zephyr that you wanted to ride on. And that's the way it is. And that's what we have at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida.